We're gonna build a house, we're gonna make it tall, we're gonna make it the biggest house of all. Hey YouTubers, I'm just going to show you my extension I'm building, and I've been started this in the middle of May, and it's now about the middle of September, so you can do the maths. I can't do that whilst talking to you, I'm afraid. I've come down to this part of the garden because you can get the whole building hopefully in shot without the sun in our eyes. Yeah, there you go, just about, I think. And so you can see I had quite a lot of block work to do at the bottom before I got up to DPC, and then we've got ground floor level about here, which matches to the existing house, and upstairs there, and the very top block on the top, that's wall plate up there. So we've got another 3 courses to do, and which will include the lintels, which you can see leaning up against the scaffold here, and then we'll be ready to put the roof on. So we'll just walk over and have a look at the scaffolding I'm using and the lintels. So this scaffolding is called quick stage, and I'm fairly sure it's illegal to use if you're a company, because it doesn't meet the various safety standards. But if you're a self-builder, where the regulations don't apply, then I think you're okay to use it, but don't quote me on that. But people do use it. I mean, this is my dad's. He's done a couple of projects with it, and he's lent it to me so I can do mine. I've done all this myself. It kind of clips together with these little clips here, and we'll look at this one at the bottom here. So you've got these little openings here, and each segment of the scaffolding slots in, and then you hammer this locking wedge into place, and that tightens it all up. So as you can see, you've got all of those. It's very difficult to get apart once you put it together, and yeah, the planks are quite heavy. They're very thick planks. You can see you've got quite a long span on each plank up there, about 2.5 meters between each transom. These sideways bits are called, and which is huge for scaffolding. And so yeah, that goes all the way around. Very irregular, as you can see, because I've run out of this scaffolding now, so I've had to kind of adjust the height depending on what I've got left. So yeah, first time I've ever put that up, so don't copy what I've done here, probably all wrong, but you can use it, and it's the first time I've used this stuff, and it's gone okay, I think. There's my garden office thing, which we use as a kind of TV room at the moment. You can see about that in another YouTube video I made, which I'll post a link to in the description. And so we forgot to look at the lintels, didn't we? I'll tell you what, we'll have a look at this one in place. So there's the lintel up there, as you can see, and it supports the block work in the wall above. Let's look at this one here, because there's no scaffolding in the way. And so when you pick these up, they feel very light, and you think, oh, that's not going to be very good, is it? But by the time you've got all the blocks built around it, and as the delivery driver said to me, the strength is in the form of the lintel. So these are a catnic lintel, which they've been around for ages, although they're owned by Tata Steel. And I'll just go back down here again. I'll fast forward through this. Look at these ones here. So as you can see, these are a bit mucky because they've been lying on the ground for a number of weeks, and this one here has been burrowed out by some rodent or a We've got loads of moles in the garden, but I can't see why a mole would have done that. Anyway, so yeah, perhaps leave them polystyrene side up if you're going to leave them on the ground for a long period, although I expect that's a freak occurrence. So these are the ones for the upstairs windows. They're quite long, as you can see, because the upstairs windows are 1.8 meters wide, and so you have to have a 15 centimeter bearing on each end, so your lintel needs to be 30 centimeters longer than the window is wide, and that will get you your good bearing. So now we'll go back round we were a minute ago. I'll fast forward through this again. Right, so have a quick look around the downstairs bit. Most of this you would have seen, you could see in another video if you so wished. So this is the downstairs suspended timber floor, and there's another video on this. You can see it being put in and built. I've got the centre line noggins in, but you'll need noggins down each side as well to pick up the floorboard at the edge of the room. If you have anything heavy like a bed leg, the leg of a bed poking down onto the very edge of the floorboard, because it's not locked into any with the tongue and groove running this way, then it will sag, so that won't look very good. So you have extra bits of noggin. Now a good way to do that is you don't need a full height noggin, and so what you can do is you get an axe and you just split two bits off a noggin, so you've got which you've cut to the right length. Obviously they're all a similar length but slightly different, and then you you can use that little bit you've split off down on the side. So I'll show you those here. So there's the offcuts I've saved. There's another pile somewhere else. And this was built on a slope, so you saw outside when I walked up, we had to walk up a bit of a hill, and as you can see here, that's underneath the suspended timber floor. The ground slopes down, which is why I've used a suspended timber floor, because otherwise we would have had to do a hybrid one where we had ground bearing slab up to about here and then break and turn into ground and suspended timber, but you can't fill that. Is too much of a depth to fill, because the fill won't compact properly. Well, it would, but if you use the correct method, but building regs won't allow it. So we'll go upstairs now. Okay, so now we're up on the scaffolding. Very dangerous, no edge protection whatsoever. So generally I make a rule of just walking on these inside 2 or 3 boards, just to make a habit of that. Here you can see there wasn't room for scaffolding, so I've got like a walkway to go across. Again, extremely dangerous, not recommended. But there you go. At least I'll fall on my shed roof, hopefully, if I fall off here, which I'm not planning on doing. So up here, we're not quite finished on the block work. We've got another 3 courses to go. 1, 2, 3. The lintel will go 5 and a bit blocks up, so we'll end up with the wall stopping about there, and then a little slither of concrete block to make it up to the height of the window, which is 1.2 meters, and then we rest our lintel on there like we saw downstairs, and that's that. So one of the trickiest things I've found is remembering the wall ties, which is a bit annoying. So you have to put lots of wall ties as you're going along. It's every other block ordinarily, and when you've got an opening you put one every course on the way up, as you can see here. So we'll just go a bit closer. So you can see on every course on the edge of an opening you've got a wall tie. Now the wall ties are just these rather flimsy looking stainless steel wire pieces which you get set in the mortar and are nice and tight, so they don't keep two skins from moving apart altogether. So we'll just go inside here, see what's going on. So I'll go over this side because the sun shines a bit blinding there. So where you're connecting the walls of your extension to your existing house, you have these things called wall starters, and as you can see here you've got these little, can I get that out? Yeah. So you've got these little bits. These are called Simpson crocodile, these ones, although they don't look too much like a crocodile. And yeah, these little bits here, they slot inside like that, and then you just build your wall up on top, so that kind of keeps it secured to the house apparently. Although roughly I think the blocks, all the block work in this extension weighs about 50 tons, so if it starts to go, then that's not going to stop it, is it? But it won't, because it's on good footings and all that sort of business, so should be fine. When you're building the concrete block walls, you have a string which you run along. Now this one's not laid out properly at the moment because I've been using it to set up the corners at the far end, yeah, so that normally runs along the outside of the outer leaf. So you put that string along. Let's just go along and set it up, shall we? To get around inside, I've just laid some scaffold boards over the joists, and as you can see I've got some offcuts from the joists here which I've used to make a little walkway over there. And one thing to remember is never to have any kind of overhang. I don't stand on this thin piece of OSB, it's just to get the trolley across, because it's not really thick enough to stand on. But one important thing is never to have an overhang. That's too much there really, because if you were to stand on that, then the plank will flip. I screwed most of these planks down because just for a bit of added security. Some are, some aren't. So if you're unfamiliar with block laying, I'm going to stand right on the edge here. Okay, then what you do, you put your corners up first, and or in this case your end and a corner, and then you run a string between the two, and then you use that as a guide for laying your concrete blocks to keep them straight and to keep them level. So this one here would run just along the top of the concrete block here like that. Just get that. Yeah, that's annoying, and I can pick that back up. Is it going to work? No, that's annoying. So when you're laying your blocks, they don't have to be entirely spot on, but if they're within just a few mil, then that's okay. And as long as you don't sort of have, it's okay to be slightly inaccurate as long as you don't carry on being inaccurate in the same way. So say if all your blocks were leaning out, which would be particularly bad, by 3 mil every time you laid one, as you can see you've got 20 or 30 courses there, so by the time you got to the top you would be 6 centimeters out or something, which would be pretty bad. you know, it's okay to be inaccurate so long as you don't make a habit of being inaccurate in the same way. I hope that makes sense. Probably not. Anyway, so you can see the line goes along there, and that's showing me where to put the concrete blocks on the outer skin. Now when I do the inner skin, let me just put this thing down so I don't need. And when you do the inner skin, you wait for the outer skin of blockwork to go off, for the mortar to set, and then depending on the size of your cavity, you might get a piece of board like this. This is just a piece of scaffold which I've cut lengthwise with a circular saw, and you use that as a guide. And I'm using one hand, so you have two lengths. I've got a long length when I'm doing a good old length span, a good old length of wall, and you can get a good get it going well. But I've also got a little short length here which I use for doing fiddly bits. So all you do is you have your outer wall here like that, and then what you'll do, you use this as a guide, and then you just lay your inner skin up against it. I'm sure a professional bricklayer wouldn't use this method, but it's a method my dad taught me from when he builds houses. So you know, it's good for me. So you wouldn't lay it like that. You would lay it. You would build up an end like that in a kind of step, and then you lay that in between in an angle. So you can go along like that, and as you go along, you just keep moving it. So say if I was building a bit here, I would probably put it. That's probably the best angle to put it there, and then you can lay your blocks in here, pushed up against it. Although I would build the outer skin first. Anyway, it's not the best explanation, is it? But there you go. So what's next on the list? So I've got another few courses to do here, and then I'll be putting some lintels in, and the windows are probably not going to arrive for ages because of coronavirus and all the delays that's causing in various factories all over the place. Yeah, so in terms of how accurate everything has to be, some things have to be quite accurate whilst others don't have to be overly accurate. So I take a lot of care in doing the outside skin of the blockwork because that's what I'm following. It's also this is where the windows are going to go, so they're ordered, the hole I'm building now, so the hole has to be a good match, and it has to be nice and square so the window will fit in it. And I suppose squareness, that's hard to check. You could probably make up a kind of frame out of timber or something, which is a method my dad used to use apparently. But I'm learning by my mistakes, which are yet to come, and I'm just building the hole a little bit bigger than it should be, and then I can slot the window in easily, which should be 1.2 high and 1.8 wide, and I've added a centimetre on either end, so the holes are about an inch bigger than they should be, so hopefully that should slide in okay. So that's about it really. We've got a massive sliding door which is going in the end here, and it's going to be extremely heavy, I should imagine. Well, I don't imagine. I should imagine it'll be 200 kilos, which is going to be heavy to get up because we're on the first floor here. So the reason we've got our lounge and living area on the first floor is because that matches the house as it is at the moment, because it's all built on a level, as you can see. So you come in through the front door and that's where your living area is, and the bedrooms are downstairs, and there's some up on the second floor as well. So yeah, it's all a bit complicated. But yeah, so we're going to have to lift up this giant patio window. I think I'm going to get a genie lift to do that, which is like this weird kind of forklift truck on wheels, which you can push around by hand, and then you crank it up with like a handle, like you would on a winch. And I have a quantity surveyor for a brother-in-law. He seemed to think that was quite a good idea. Yeah, so that's that really, and that's where we're at. There's a few little extra bits which you need to put in. You might notice these little metal straps. Now I'm not quite sure whether I actually had to put those in, but it just made sense to, because it kind of ties everything together laterally. But end to end, the building inspector asked us to put these straps in, which you can just see the end of poking out there. They're like a metal strap which goes along. Can you see it there underneath there? And they're a piece of strip of metal, strip steel, galvanized, lots of holes in it, and they fold round into the end of the wall and poke out on the other side, and they're meant to help stop this wall moving out if that should happen. So it kind of ties everything together nicely. And so we're having a flat roof on here, we've decided, because it's just will disturb the existing roof a lot less. And we've also got this flat roof here, and hopefully we're going to tie into that. If anyone knows what that type of window is called, I'd really like to know. It's not a dormer window, there's something else. It's like a reverse dormer, because it goes in rather than out. So if anyone knows what that's called, please say so in the comments. Yeah, so that's my amateurish efforts up to this point, and hopefully if I don't fall off the scaffolding and kill myself or worse, then all will be well, and we'll update in a few weeks with the flat roof side of things, which I'm quite looking forward to getting done, to be honest. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll just say quickly, so I've left to help get in and out quickly. Obviously there's a lot of handling and materials involved in doing this, because I've got to carry all the blocks down the garden path from down the bottom somewhere over there, and then get them up on the scaffolding, which I've been doing it by hand up to now, but the last lift of the scaffolding has made that really difficult. So I've got a barrow hoist. I've yet to set it up. I may start using that, I'm not sure. This hole in the fence wall here I've left open. This will be bricked up to this level to make another window, but I've left that open for the moment because it enables you to get in and out easily, and more importantly more quickly as well, because I want to try and get this finished for Christmas. So yeah, there you go. Happy days. No doubt someone who knows what they're doing will give me a few pointers, which I welcome. And yeah, thanks for watching. Cheerio.